Now that we have understood the basic elements in a reinforcement learning problem, I want you to understand some of the most important functions in reinforcement learning, namely the value functions. So let's first understand that why do we need value functions? Suppose you are in a state S in the environment, and this state S you take an action A. After taking this action A, you are going to receive a reward R from the environment, and you are going to move into a new state S of dash. Now I want to estimate that how good was taking this action S. I want to estimate that whether being in this state S was good or not. And also I want to know that when I was in this state S, whether taking this action A was good or not. So I want to find two things. I want to find the value of this state, and I want to find the value of this action. So I need something that can give me the value of them. And this something is called value functions. Value functions are There are two types of value functions: state value functions and action value functions. As their name suggests, state value functions give you the value of being in a certain state, and action value gives you the value of taking an action A in any given state S. So they look like this. The state value function is denoted by V, and it takes a state S. When a state S is given into a state value function, it outputs how good was being in that state. And same goes for the action value function. The action value function is denoted by Q, and action value function, when given a state and an action, it tells that how good was to take this action A when you were in this state S. You might note that both of them has these subscript of pi over them, and previously we came to know that pi represents the policy of the network. Pi represents the policy that the agent is following. So here this pi represents that the value function which is giving you the value of the state S is in correspondence to this policy. This value function always corresponds to a certain policy. Same goes for this Q value, action value function, which takes the state and the action and gives you the value that represent how good was this action. It is always in correspondence to a policy. Now the policy might be good or bad, but value functions, whether state value function or action value function, always gives you the values according to a certain policy. For example, if I have another policy, pi of dash, the same value function for this state S is going to be different than this one. Under different policy for the same state, we can have different outcomes. So again, the state value function gives you the value of being in a certain state, and the action value function gives you the value of taking an action A being in state S, and all of them, both of them according, and it corresponds to a certain policy pi. So if you want to find the value of a state, you are going to use the state value function. You want to find the value of an action, you are going to use the action value function. Now that you have understood state value, state and value functions, let's move on to understanding what is meant by getting a return. So basically, a return represents all the future rewards that you can get from being in a timestamp t. So for example, in this trajectory, if you want to estimate the return at this point timestamp t is equal to 0, you are going to call it g of 0. It is going to be all the rewards that you are going to get in the future. So it is going to be equal to r of 0, which you got after taking action a of 0. plus r of 1 which you got after taking action a of 1 plus r of 2 which you got after taking action a of 2 in the environment. So basically, if you take n actions into the environment, it is basically going to be the sum of all the rewards that you got after taking those actions. So this is basically how g of 0 is going to look like. G of 1 is going to look like this, g of 2 is going to look like this. So from here you can get a basic understanding of how reward looks. But in this slide you also see these symbols, these gamma symbols. Now I want you to stop and think about it.